Hi there, and welcome to the Say Yes to Success Summit. I'm your host, Elizabeth Mary Hancock, and I'm delighted to welcome Christine Parakis with us. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Elizabeth. So good to be with you today.
Oh, I'm really pleased you're with us. And we had a couple of challenges to overcome to press record, haven't we, tonight? So it's great that we're finally talking. So I'm really looking forward to the interview. We're going to have a lot of fun. So for anyone that's just tuning in, where have you been? And but in case you are just tuning in for the first time, let me just tell you why I brought together this amazing group of experts, speakers, coaches, just absolute amazing leaders in their field. And it's been such a joy to interview them and learn from them and share the message with you guys. I've done that because I'm passionate about giving back to people. And what I'm really passionate about is not just inspiring and motivating you, but making sure you take steps that you're able to implement. So we're going to be covering all those things in this interview today. And the title is Navigating a New Path to Business Success. And navigating is the key word there. You can see Christine is on a boat, and it's just so awesome that you like live on your boat when you're in LA. That's so cool. And she has that ultimate kind of entrepreneurial dream lifestyle that we all would just absolutely love to have. And she's going to share with us how she does that and how it is possible for every single one of us, which is very exciting. So let me tell you a bit more about Christine. Business owners are often faced with professionals who are advisors or claim to be advisors, but they might not have had the experience to drive the real results. And Christine has definitely had that. So for more than 2 decades, she has navigated the really difficult negotiations in boardrooms and tempestuous open seas as a lawyer, C-level executive, entrepreneur, and this is just so cool, 100-ton licensed boat captain, graduate studies, business strategies professor. She discovered an essential truth that can be applied to both life and business. And again, we're talking about that crossover with business and life. So it's just, I just love it. So passionate about that. So Christine is an expert at weathering the storm to reach the destination, and she really believes that requires partnership of a talented captain and an experienced navigator. Figuratively and literally, she has weathered the roughest waters and guided her team to safely reach their destination. She's been a strategic business partner for some of the world's most visionary entrepreneurs, turning creative ideas into profitable ventures. She's worked in global enterprises, helping entrepreneurs on multiple continents generate substantial growth from startup through to expansion, secure millions in financing from multiple sectors, forge powerful business partnerships, and implement new revenue streams and product lines. Certain challenges translate to all businesses, no matter what the industry, product, or service. The business owner who is yet to really dive into the tools that are out there, she can help you take your business to the next level. And for those of you that have done all this training before or don't resonate with the old ways of doing things, her work will take you far beyond the status quo. She will help you to create more profits, ease, and freedom in your life and your business, just like she has. So what a wonderful introduction, Christine. And thank you for joining us once again. It's great to have you. And just so that's like amazing credentials that, sorry, I remember to look in the camera. I just want to look at your boat. It's so cool.
You want a tour.
And you, obviously, you're beautiful. So that tells a lot about sort of your credentials, but tell us a bit more how you've created this lifestyle, because you have a pretty awesome lifestyle, don't you?
Well, I'm grateful for it most of the time. But, the truth is that I was listening to you talk because it sounds so wonderful on paper. And for all of us who have a dream and a vision for what they really want to be living like in their life day to day, sometimes that seems so far removed from us. And I started as a little girl with a dream to sail around the world. And I look back on my life because I've had a few years to think about that or take a look and realize how many steps that really took to get to that place where I have the boat, I have the expertise, I have the skills, I've been offshore, and I've put all these pieces in place, and I've sailed thousands of miles. And none of that was without hard work and true commitment and focus, and really keeping my eye on it. And even at times when it's difficult and you think you're never going to get there, wherever there is for you, you just keep moving forward and doing whatever it takes, whatever's the steps in front of you, is, I think, my secret to how I've gotten to where I'm at today.
That's brilliant. And, you know, we often don't hear about people's stories until they are really, really successful. And so unless they've got this massive, like, rags to riches story or some really traumatic event that led them to where they are now, it's quite easy to forget that some people have just worked really hard to get there. And, you know, and often it's looked upon as luck, or, you know, you've just met the right people, or you've got lucky, or whatever. But you have worked incredibly hard to get where you are today, haven't you?
I think so, on the one hand. And yes, I think that luck plays a part in that. I get to meet people along the way, and by staying open, you create your luck, right? You find people that suddenly you're attracted to, or that show up at the exact right moments. And that belies the other times when nothing's moving and it doesn't feel like you're making anything happen and you're in between. You know, the life of an entrepreneur is filled with the ebbs and flows, right? Sometimes it's really cooking on all burners, and other times it just feels like nothing's moving and you're not making things happen. And I've had the highs and lows. I've had business ventures that have worked out. I've been involved in running 10 businesses in my career. And, you know, it hasn't all been rosy and easy. There's been times, and when you go out on the edge like that, and when you have a big dream, you're going to have those opportunities to explore those edges and really navigating the obstacles. And it's how committed we are that these obstacles can challenge us, or stop us, or propel us forward, that we get to see where we are in our lives based on what we've done and how we've navigated that.
That's brilliant. So what would your advice be to someone who maybe has a failing business now, that they're really like, this just isn't working, or they're struggling to make ends meet, or they've failed in business and they've still got this kind of burning desire inside, but they're just so frozen in fear because of what's happened in the past? What advice would you give those types of people?
Well, first and foremost, I would say you're not alone, right? There's none of us who's ever tried to do anything on our own or with partners or with a vision has not met with failure or fear or frustration or with insurmountable obstacles and odds. So that is the one and most important thing, because first and foremost, we feel that sense of shame. You know, we're educated, we're smart, we have vision, we have energy, we're excited, and then it doesn't work out, maybe in the timing we want or in the way that we want it, and we start to doubt ourselves. So knowing that this is the path forward is first and foremost, having a belief in the vision if it's such a burning desire. So those are let's call them the spiritual, energetic, universal truths that we have to confront, which is, we got to hold on to that vision. We got to keep seeing it. You know, Napoleon Hill has this concept of 3 feet from gold, when in his book, Think and Grow Rich, right? It's been, you know, around forever. It's a Bible. And people have, you know, they're digging for gold, and they're years and years not coming up with anything. And finally they give up. And the buyer comes along who's taken over the plot, and they're 3 feet away and they find the gold. So being able to get yourself all the way there. And so that's important. What is our self-talk? How do we perceive ourselves? And even when it's challenging or it's not looking like it's moving. And then from a business standpoint, we have to look at it from the practical and the strategic, which is, are there markers in the marketplace telling us this is a good idea or not a good idea? Are there things that we can adjust incrementally to make our product or service more appealing? So from both an energetic and a practical point of view, we have to approach the situation and not be defeated by our own self-talk or self-destruction and the behaviors that we have, and from a kind of a mindless, blind powering through, I'm going to make this work no matter what, without even responding to what the market's telling you.
So it's
work multiple fronts.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's having that belief and having that drive, but also, I guess, you know, looking at the market and getting that feedback, going out and exploring, and getting that feedback. And there's no shame in kind of changing, is there? You know, changing your path and changing what you're doing, changing your offering, all of that kind of thing. You know, I've certainly walked that path, and if I hadn't have done that, then it wouldn't have led me to where I am now. So I don't look back and see that was a failure or a waste of time. You know, I loved it while I was doing it, and it led me on to the next thing. So yeah, absolutely good advice there. And
in hindsight, isn't it?
yes, absolutely. And you know, I really loved what I was doing at the time, but then realized, for like you say, looking at the market and actually what was going to sell, and okay, that's not selling that well, you know, that's a big ask of people. So how can I change it to fit in with what people do want? And, you know, sending surveys out to my list, finding out what they wanted, all that kind of stuff. Really, really important. So in terms of your journey, because you've done some quite different things, haven't you? Like we mentioned, the 100-ton boat captain, and you're a lawyer, and you're now an entrepreneur. Really quite very different things. Tell us a bit more about those, how you kind of navigated that path.
Well, I think that, again, in hindsight, it all makes sense. But fortunately, even at the time when I was looking at my educational periods in college and in law school, graduate school, I have an MBA as well. And it just felt like I was putting building blocks in place. You know, I never had thought that I would be practicing law for the rest of my life, but I really wanted the education and the tools. So it's the same whether it was teaching programs to graduate students, or getting my law degree and representing clients in major multi-million-dollar global transactions, or navigating through hurricane force winds, and you know, being a first responder rescuer on the mountains and the ski patrol, or, you know, all of these pieces are building blocks to me to be at my best, to realize my full potential, to be of the highest service, and to help navigate businesses, boats, and people to safely reach their destination. That sense of what does it take? You know, I've been there, and I'm sure most of us have, knowing that, can I be the best navigator for my role in the world and of service?
Amazing. And so you must have had, you said you wanted to sail around the world when you were a little girl. Did you have really influential parents or grandparents or someone in your life that kind of brought that out? Or do you think you just had it and you were just one of those kids that were just like, no, I'm doing it?
Well, my parents, thankfully, were adventure seekers, so I certainly had that exposure, but to a lot of different things. They, you know, the mountains and the ocean and skiing and sailing and different things. But it was a book that I read by a guy, Robin Graham, who did it by himself, which I never wanted to do, but sailed around the world for 5 years in a 24-foot sailboat. And I must have read his book, I don't know, 6 or 8 times, and followed the National Geographic story, and it just got inside of me in a cellular level that just resonated so strongly. And my family helped nurture those passions for boating and nature and being outdoors, and my sense of desire to know other cultures and to be a part of the world. And sailing and boating makes it all accessible because you can go anywhere in the world by boat.
Absolutely. And so what advice would you give to someone? You know, I could imagine, and this is not a criticism at all, but I could imagine there's maybe some viewers thinking, well, you know, she kind of had it made for her. You know, she had these supportive parents that not all of us have. What advice would you give to someone who doesn't have, who you know, we're our viewers are mostly adults, I would imagine, but who perhaps haven't had that support? And even more, I think, when you're growing your business, you know, I've had a lot of resistance from my friends. In fact, well, less than my friends, but my family, my immediate family, a lot of resistance, especially initially, and kind of disbelief and like, what are you doing? Like almost like, oh God, what is she doing now? Kind of thing. Because I'm the kind of person that wants to do different stuff. I don't just want a job. Really not supportive at all, and in a way that's driven me because I want to prove myself, but that actually didn't help. I needed to let that go, and since I have let that go, it's kind of freed up so much. So that's what I've done. But what advice would you give people that have got that struggle?
Well, I would say that, you know, you mentioned my family being introducing me, and I God bless them for that. At the same time, I think that my father helped hone my skills to learn to not take no for an answer. And I would say that was a guiding principle to me, is to, you know, my father starting out with, "Can I go out?" No. And I went backwards from there. And when I wanted to go to law school, I can't tell you how many people said there were too many lawyers. Not to take no for an answer. And so when you have a seedling of a vision, of an idea, of a passion, to just go with that feeling and not let the external forces tell you no, no, you can't. Because if I had stopped at any point in time where I'd been given a no, I would be nowhere. And so always acting with my inclinations, with my desires, and not taking no for an answer has propelled me in every step and path that I've taken. Because, you know, I'm grateful again for that introduction to the adventurous spirit. It nurtured something in me that was already there. But really just saying, yes, I'm going forward and I'm going to do this, even when it doesn't make sense to people around you, and not being bothered by that. Because that's important, right? They can bring you down, the universal forces, the families, the friends, the naysayers, because people aren't courageous enough to take action in the face of all that. So it can be very solitary when you're an entrepreneur and a visionary and you have a dream. So, you know, I have pursued all of my different passions because I refuse to take no for an answer.
That's awesome. I think that's really inspirational, and it's also brought up for me, you know, saying about not having that support from most of my family. I think hopefully everyone has got someone, even if unfortunately they're not with us anymore, but someone that, like, for me, it was my gran. She, you know, she worked throughout the war. She was laying paving slabs when she was like about 80. She was one of those like complete troopers. And I know that's where I got my spirit from. And I've had people tell me she's my guardian angel and stuff, which is lovely, and I really hope she is. But it's when I'm like, when kind of I feel like people are against me, I think, okay, what would my gran do? And that really helps me to bring it through. So hopefully people, viewers watching this, have someone like that they can kind of tap into. And excuse me. And if they don't, then obviously they need to find someone. So, so Christine, talk to us a little bit about what you do now and how you help your clients.
Well, and as I'm listening to you speak, I'm realizing, you know, we've all gotten that good fortune at different parts of our lives, because it may not be the people you think you should be able to count on, but, you know, for me, there was the one person who was willing to help me get into the law school of my dreams, you know, or people making a suggestion, or somebody just seeing something in you and wanting to say, oh, let me help you, here's a hand. So those are all around. And then because I've been so well guided and so beautifully taken care of in those kinds of people coming in and out of my life, I have made a career really out of mentoring. You know, I've had clients for 20 years, multiple clients that have been with me for that kind of time, 5 years, 8 years, people whose careers that I've helped navigate. And, you know, I have been doing my best to be that kind of mentor to people who have the vision and really want to see themselves get there, and know that they're so much better off if they have that support. And I, in turn, have been guided by my own mentors. So there's a sense of, I think we all, any of us who are mentoring, also need that kind of support. So whether we are on the front lines or we're leading from behind, that we have that support that helps us to get where we need to go. That's a big guiding principle for how I work, and the commitment that I have, and the level of relationship that I build with clients. And I think that's why it's been a successful experience for me.
Fabulous. And I think you're absolutely right. And I would say to anyone out there, when you hire your mentor or your coach, if they don't have one themselves, then I would have a big question mark around that. It's not, I have a business coach for a year and then I know how to do it and I carry on my own, because then you're going to fall back. And it is an ongoing process. And it's not just business that we coach on, is it? It is that life part as well. The two are so interlinked.
You have to keep evolving. You know, we're all dealing with life, any of us, whether we're mentors or mentees or, you know, shuffling back and forth between those roles, that life happens. So how we navigate those obstacles and speed bumps are going to directly bear on the people that we serve, and vice versa. So it's really important. And if you have a desire to keep growing as a person, to keep growing in business, to expand what you have and what you create, you know, the best way to do that is to keep checking in. Yeah. And the only way to do that is to have somebody you can check in with, who really has interested hearts, but isn't invested 100% in the outcome.
Yeah, completely agree. It's just so important, isn't it? I'm just going to check my notes because I know I've got lots of questions that I don't want to forget to ask you. We talked a lot before we hit record. We talked, and when we first spoke, we talked about how we both share this passion for that feeling of being in service to people, and you know, just absolutely doing it. And I'm trying to get this across to a couple of my clients at the moment. When they're selling, it's not about the sale. Take the emotion and the, not desperation, but the need to make a sale out of it, because you are there to serve that person. Someone was saying to me yesterday on a call, but I had the perfect opportunity to tell this woman what I do, and it just felt like I would have been being too pushy, and I bottled it, and so I coached her through that. But trying to get her to realize that actually she's not being in service if she doesn't shout about what she does, not in a hey, look at me, I'm so wonderful, but in a I can help you kind of way, in a way that is right for them, not about hey, I can help you, so come and give me lots of money. Hopefully that, I'm sure that hopefully makes sense. So what is this whole being of service to people? Because I don't think until you really start to be in service to your clients and you realize the transformation you can bring to them, I don't know if people kind of really get that. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think that we confuse our need for well-being, money, sustenance, you know, with our desire to be of service and where that comes from. And I think it has to come from a sense of value. First, from within yourself, that you are a person of value, that you have tools and skills and expertise and something that you bring to the table that's innately, uniquely you through your business, you as an individual, and to believe in that strongly enough to know that that has value in the world, and then to find and be available for those people who need that value. So if it's always about how can I bring value to you? What is it you need? Because we're all really interested in ourselves, you know, what are we deficient in? What do we need? How are we going to get help for X? We get caught up in, you know, I could talk about my laundry list of my resume, you know, but who cares how many businesses I run or how many degrees I have? They really care. Does that translate into something that is going to serve me? So if I'm focused entirely on communicating where I bring value and what I can do for them, and let them decide, do you need help with this? Because I'm here if you do. It changes the conversation. And then because we've all been inundated with emails and campaigns and, you know, we just don't want to hear it anymore. I delete so many emails out of my inbox and, you know, from really great, strong people that I know have value, but I just can't hear all the noise. So I'm hoping that for me, it's going to rise up. The value that I need is going to show up and I'm going to catch it and it'll be there at the right time. And I believe that's true for us when we're attracting clients and business into our lives.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think there are clients for every single coach out there. We get, you just said a while ago that you were told there are too many lawyers. Well, now a lot of people are like, oh, there's so many coaches out there and everyone's a bit tired of the whole coaching thing. But there are, you know, yes, some people are tired of it, but there's also a load of people who desperately need us and who need those coaches. They need those mentors. And there is the right coach for every single person out there, which is partly why I love doing these summits, because you bring so many together and then you just basically, the viewers have got this whole menu of coaches to opt for. So I think there's someone out there for everyone, absolutely. And when we're being in service, So I had, it was interesting. I was kind of witness to a little bit of criticism to somebody I know recently around, you know, they were just offering a service, and it was on a Facebook thread, and you got the usual trolls that, you know, picked like one little typo or something, and then it just like kind of blew up from there. And then you get the people saying, well, you're just trying to take our money, and it just gets like really out of hand. It's like, it's amazing how quickly that kind of whips up. But when we are saying we're in service to people, but we're also commanding high prices, why is that a good thing?
I think it's a reflection of the value that we believe in and are willing to give. You know, I guess I'm fortunate in the sense that I started out as a lawyer, so that meant my time was highly valued, overvalued, I would say, at the beginning, because I didn't know anything. But, you know, and it became a pet peeve of mine, in fact, because I would see the hourly rates that my time was being charged for while I was trying to figure things out. And I'd be giving the most menial tasks when I was a junior lawyer, but I was outraged at what my clients were in a big New York law firm. But you know, so what that did for me was force me to reconcile the knowing that I was entitled to ask, but wanting to raise up the level of service that I gave. So my career for 20 plus years as a lawyer, I've never been questioned with my bill. And people have always felt in all of my billing work that they've gotten more than they've paid for. And I've actually gotten those kinds of comments from people. And it's very gratifying because I don't set out to do that, but it's always thinking of value. And so if it comes from within, then and another feels that reflection and they're feeling like they got more than what they paid for, then you can charge the sky is the limit. And it's important for people to recognize their investment. You know, I could have paid for a college education with the amount of money I've invested in my own growth. And, you know, I'm willing to do that because I think it pays off in spades, making me a better human and a better contributor in the world and of higher value. So it all, again, starts from within, and it becomes a reflection, and that everybody wins. And there's not an issue of, oh, your rates are too high, because I recognize that not everybody's meant to work with me.
Yeah, I think it's such a different way of a different spin you've put on it, coming from that lawyer background where you already charged higher rates. So you're continuing with you know, similar rates, but you're adding even more value, which obviously a lot of people come from charging, I don't know, $40-50 an hour for a session, and then they have to offer a monthly program or, you know, an annual investment, and it blows their mind, and they're just like, I can't do that, it just feels too much. But I think it's about kind of, where is your set point? What would you pay for other things, and what value are you putting on stuff? I coach some podiatrists, actually. We were having this discussion about how people value podiatry over or under, for some people, over for some, but under a lot of people, the value that they put on getting their hair cut and coloured. It's like, that's looks, and your feet are like the things that you stand on all day, every day. How can you compare them? But people do, and it's just so fascinating. So I think it's allowing that to happen for the people that don't want to pay them. That's fine, because there are people that will. And, you know, it's just about going out there as that kind of empty vessel without all this baggage and without all this doubt and limitation, and with a higher set point, so that we know we can command those prices. Yeah, I think that's, hopefully, I feel that's helpful to the viewers. Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember coaching somebody who was a tutor for children, and she was struggling because her clients from very wealthy neighborhoods didn't want to pay more than $15 or $20 an hour. And I'm saying, you're paying your tennis instructor $100 an hour, you're paying your manicurist $50 or $100. You know, these are your children you're investing in, and we're our own children, right? What are we willing to invest in ourselves? Because you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And of course, you may not really be able to scrape together the money, but you will get what you pay for. And not everybody's worth what they charge. You know, that's true too. So you have to find the resonance, you know. I think Tony Robbins would be worth $100,000 for a weekend. I don't know if I would make that investment, but I might still get there at $50,000. You know, so
yeah.
it's really finding the resonance with the right people and being willing to make that investment in yourself because you're worth it. So that's the conversation that the client or the prospective client has to have within themselves that reconciles and matches your own conversation. And you will, I believe with all my heart, that you will attract the people who are resonating at the level that you are.
Absolutely. And it also comes back to that vision, doesn't it? How strong your vision is, how much time you spent really like connecting to that vision, and how much you want it, because it's all very easy to, you know, and I'm talking about real vision here, like putting the meat on the bones, not just having pictures of nice houses and holiday homes and stuff like that. Real vision of what you want your life to be on a day-to-day basis, not just the things you want to have, but the value you want to give to the world, the people you want to serve, the day-to-day experience that you want your life to have. And if you want it enough, there's lots of things that can be sacrificed. Sky TV, the latest mobile phone upgrade, there's an awful lot of things that we spend money on that are basically just nice to haves that we really don't need. And it's amazing when you start coaching how the value of all those things change. I find that absolutely fascinating. Someone that barely watches telly anymore, I don't know why we've got Sky. It's like, that's such a waste of money. We need to get rid of that.
Responsibility for those decisions, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's go to your marketing wisdom for a second, because we're short of time and we've had an amazing chat, but there's a few things I wanted to hone in on, because when we spoke the first time, the kind of questions that you give your clients to get them really clear are very, very valuable. So if someone's got their vision, they're connected to it, they really want to do it, and they're going, okay, I'm going out there, I'm following the steps that people are telling me to take, hopefully from a really good coach that they're involved with. And how do they build on that? How do they get it going?
Well, I believe in the collateral equation, which is a 4-step process that you have to interrupt people, you have to engage them, you have to educate them, and then you have to offer them something. And so what that requires is we find ways to be innovative. It's our responsibility, because we're just another lawyer, or we're just another coach. If we don't have that true identity of the way in which we are distinguished, everybody's going to offer quality. Everybody's going to be responsive. Everybody's going to be consistent, hopefully, in their level of service, and they're showing up. But really, what is the innovation? And we have to catch people's attention with that. So that's what I call the collateral equation, and the 4-step process to that. And I actually have a book coming out that's going to address these issues, the 2017 Entrepreneur's Guide. And it's a roadmap to getting from 0 to 7 figures in record time.
Oh, I like that. That's going to stand out, because it's not 0 to 6 figures or 7 figures. That's like, oh, well, that's exciting. Brilliant. Cool. Okay. So is there any other advice you would give someone? What's like what do you think has been the key to your success, or the advice that you'd like to share with our listeners, with our viewers, who are kind of on that precipice, but maybe just too scared to jump off?
What comes up for me immediately is don't give up. You're not alone. There are others who've gone before you. There's others who face the challenges that you faced. There isn't a single challenge that you are facing right now that others haven't been there before you and survived and thrived. And so whatever's going on for you right this moment, if you keep moving forward, you don't give up, you will get where you need to go, and you will thrive.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. And thank you, Christine, for that. That's brilliant. And what that makes me think of is the power of community, and, having a mentor and a coach, which we've talked about, but also peers that are at the same level as you. And whether that's through doing a group program, or just being part of a really amazing Facebook group, or a networking meeting, whatever that is, you kind of need to surround yourself with amazing people. I have this saying, your network is your net worth. And we talked in the beginning about how families can be quite, hold us down a little bit. So if you're finding those people to surround yourself with, then, at the very least, if you're absolutely convinced you can't afford a coach yet, which we could discuss that and try and convince you otherwise, but at the very least, get yourself an accountability partner that you are, keeping each other accountable to and supporting each other and all those things, at the absolute least.
Absolutely. And there are group of activities that become more affordable and that bring together. So you're looking for resonance and then figuring it out, because I've had a hand up a number of times when I didn't have what looked like I didn't have the resources to get what I needed. I've always found a way. And so I think you can too.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Christine. We will have a link to your free gift on the email. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
I believe it's the Professional Clarity Questionnaire. Just remind me.
I think it is. Okay, we've forgotten because we're having so much fun here.
Yeah, right.
It is. So I will. I can check that and add it onto the interview. But it's going to be awesome, whatever it is.
Yes. Well, it's the Professional Clarity Questionnaire that I give out. I facilitate very senior level executives, and I work with a group in Southern California throughout the region to help these people, senior leaders, really dig deep inside themselves and to figure out what's their competitive edge, what are their strengths, what are their obstacles perhaps, and are they where they want to be, and to really spend a very concentrated amount of time on that and find out what it yields for you. And then I offer to spend time and sit down with people who've gone through that questionnaire and talk to them about what's come up. Well, that's complimentary as well. It's part of the game.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm also going to be looking out for your book next year, because I'm really excited to have a look at that, definitely. And I also wanted to add, just on the end, I mentioned at the beginning we had a few challenges getting on the screen today, and obviously we'd forgotten to check what our free gift was. But like the thing about, I think we are really quite aligned, because we're just like, when you're in this space, you just get on with it. It's not like, oh gosh, I haven't, the internet won't work, or this or that won't work, and I've forgotten this. We just really roll with the punches. And I think that feeds into what you said, don't give up, because it's easy to say that's not perfect and I better do it again. But actually it shows that we're human, and it shows that this stuff happens. It's real life, and that we just roll with the punches and have a laugh doing it. So hopefully that inspires other people as well. And I have another saying that perfectionism is a killer of dreams. So that's why I believe that there's room for little blips like that. So I hope you agree.
Absolutely. What do they say? That don't let perfection get in the way of the good.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, it's nighttime here and it's morning where you are, and you're on your beautiful boat, and I know it's very, very hot there. So you are going to have an amazing day, and I hope that the viewers do as well. Thank you for joining us at the Say Yes to Success Summit, where we are helping you to say yes, success to say yes to you even. Got it wrong again. And thank you so much to Christine. I really, really appreciate it. It's been so much fun and really enlightening, and learned a lot as well. So thank you on behalf of the viewers and myself. Thank you, Christine, and thank you to you guys too. I'll see you next time.